Hey, it's Johnny Flynn from Connecticut, and Ben Proto is the new Republican chair, and I wish him Godspeed. We have a lot of work to do. Today I'm going to talk about Jim Himes, who is undoubtedly the biggest criminal outside of James Comey from Connecticut. There is no doubt in my mind, and if you watch my videos that are coming up, I will demonstrate exactly how. But first of all, let's look at his clip.
Set aside your partisan concerns and do your best to unite. But let me start by saying, and I know that some of you have heard this, but I haven't been advertising this, but you should be so proud of our party right now. The reason for that is that as Democrats, and led by Speaker Pelosi in the House of Representatives, we have set aside all of our concerns, to be euphemistic, with this president to work.
He framed the sitting president with the FISA warrant process that Blumenthal rewrote, and these guys are all guilty of gigantic ethical violations. So let's go through a list of them, or let's just talk about the recent one. Oh, and by the way, Alex, well, check this out. Here's the Stamford Advocate. Senator Alex Casa resigns. Well, she's under investigation for investments or things that her husband did for her campaign finance violations, okay? Call it what you may. She's resigning citing divorce litigation. Okay. Well, here, if you look at these articles that are coming out very quickly, let's just highlight a few. This is just today what we could be talking. So if you can go through and look at some of these mail items, there's an extraordinary number of Connecticut problems. Let's look. Here's Jim Himes about the Tweed Airport, okay? He says all these things are very doable. Unfortunately, the way that he goes about it, for example, let's get into it. Here we go. Tweed announces a $70 million airport expansion project. Okay, that's at exit 50 in New Haven, in East Haven actually, where our event was last night. They're building a 74,000 foot facility for $70 million, okay, which is great. However, when you look at it, there's a 43-year extension on the airport lease. And if you notice, Avport's CEO, George Roberts, right, with Sean Scanlon, they're going to make the investment. Okay. But when you read the fine print, Senator Chris Murphy, it's a big deal for the entire state. Yes, it is. Thousands of jobs. Yes, it is. Keep going. Tweed will be more budget talks. Here we go. Avport's owned by Goldman Sachs. That's Jim Himes' company, okay? That's where he came from. He's financially connected to that. And here we go. If you look at the investments that Himes is working on, he should have nothing to do with Goldman Sachs, seeing that that's his donor base, and there's a $17 billion infrastructure deal coming. And this lists all the money, Elliker. There's a paragraph in here that says that we have to be careful about the personal connections, okay? Not mentioning Himes is at all, that he's from Goldman Sachs, that they do the Treasury Auction, and that he has oversight of the SEC, FINRA, NASDAQ, all the financial firms, okay, which Goldman Sachs is. And there is a statement in here, I'm looking for it. Longer distance runways, excellent news for Connecticut, but as I say, this is the last thing that Jim Himes should be touching because it deals with his personal involvement. Here is another article. Take a look. This is the concern. Bridgeport, 2.6 million. Fairfield, 2.7. Great. Greenwich. You know, they're going to do the Greenwich Creek Bridge, the Mill River Bridge, the 5 Mile River Bridge in Norwalk, 2.8 million. Ridgefield, 1.8 million. Bicycle improvements. Stamford, 3.5 million. At the train center. That's a McClutchy deal, okay? That's like POKO in Norwalk. McClutchy gave a $10,000 check to Eloisa Melendez on the Norwalk Common Council weeks before the McClutchy deal for POKO. She cashed the check. She voted for POKO. It's criminal that 10 grand goes into their campaign finance. Okay? They are guaranteed to be funded, and then they get reelected because they have money. The Republicans don't do that. Okay? Here's Wilton, Comstock Bridge. Yes, all these things are important, but keep in mind, look down. Sidewalks and pedestrian improvement, West Rocks, 1.4 million. Here's 2 million for sidewalks in Stamford. City of Bridgeport. Bridgeport is a intermingled campaign finance problem. Every year they have, projects and problems with the funding of those projects. So here we go. Applicants were selected, were based on the immediate need of the community. 50 applications were collected, according to Himes. There are many worthy projects. I will continue to work. Okay. It goes to the House Appropriations process, right? Under strict transparency and ethical guidelines. There are 2 airport deals for Goldman Sachs, which is connected to Himes. Every member, here we go. Every member submitting a project is required to include a letter which each requests stating they do not have a financial interest in the project. Well, Goldman Sachs does. They have the 43-year lease. What is that lease worth? I don't know. But it's not publicly disclosed. And then there are other requirements. In order to be eligible for community funding projects, applicants had to be either state, local, or tribal government or non-profit organizations. Okay? You can't get a single piece of information from Jim Himes about his connection to Goldman Sachs, the payments. This is a substantial payment to Goldman Sachs in exchange for a 43-year lease on the airport. I understand that the plan might be good for Connecticut, but the question is, if he's got the written ethical guidelines about certainly documenting his personal connections to Goldman Sachs, we have a problem. His major donor is Bank America, involved in the largest money laundering scandal in Connecticut history. It's 20 years old, and he gets an annual donation to his campaign from Bank America, which is tied to Judge Adams, which is tied to Kelly Dryan Warren, which laundered money. And you can look at the lawsuits. There's over 200. And I say to myself, hold on. Himes protected Bernie Madoff. Himes protected OxyContin Perdue Pharma, who paid him a bribe. Dominion was purchased by UBS directly across the street from Himes. You can go down and ask all these questions, but, why was Jim Himes' assistant stabbed 39 times? It wasn't a robbery, folks. Okay? The question is, these $70 million payments and these $1.5 million for this bridge, $1.5 million for that bridge, without disclosing his own financial arrangements to these corporations, is problematic, okay? Not only does he have a deal with Richard Colangelo, our chief state's attorney, there's a connection between the bribes paid, the money laundered by the bank, and the political contributions to Jim Himes from Fleet Securities, Shawmut Bank. All these entities, okay, rely on Jim Himes and others. Look who the financial committee chair is, okay? Look at the connection between the payments and the millions of dollars he's taking from these entities, and that's why they were never referred for criminal prosecution. I'll tell you, somebody should be referred for criminal prosecution on Dominion, and UBS is a financial company with its office directly next to Himes. Look at the murder of Stephen Barrier. The bribe was paid to Richard Colangelo, who did not deny it at the Easton meeting last month. There's going to be a June month too, and we'll go to that. But the fact remains, where did the bribes go for Greenwich Global LP? I'll tell you. That money laundering went to a partner at Kelly Dry and Warren, okay, Bank of America's attorney. There are hundreds of thousands of felonies, and they lead to Jim Himes. And no one was criminally prosecuted in the Greenwich Global LP case. And Bernie Madoff was chairman of NASDAQ, and Jim Himes let him get away with murder. Sorry, gotta take this call. I'm leaving the door now. I'm gonna go to Home Depot and get the trim piece. And I did buy Bondo the other day. Okay, that was $12. No big deal. All right, cool. I'll see you then. Okay, I may be there. I'll text you when I get there, but I'm shooting for 10 o'clock. Super duper. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye. Oh boy. Well, gotta go to work.